Welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways, Coyote in the Highlands. I'm having a really hard time this morning. I've actually done a couple of false starts on videos because there's stuff that's really hard to talk about, stuff that's really easy to talk about, and I just need to get through and power through a quick video. I want to talk a little bit about agency and remembering who you are. In a video a couple of years ago, I talked about consensus decision making being a form of bullying. And I get a lot of pushback on that. I still get a lot of pushback on that every time I bring it up. And the thing is, there's a difference between agreeing that you're going to allow the importances of a group or somebody else's importances to be the path forward because it's not that big a deal, or because you're okay giving it up, or because you've got a release on it, you've released it. It's another thing to have them tell you that this is actually your desire, that their desire has become yours. Consensus. Very different thing, and I think that it is pushed. You see, there's a lot of defensive consensus in liberal circles, the left, in enlightenment circles, in group meditation circles, and I really think that that's the wrong way to go. You know, we all believe, we all know, we're all part of this tribe. There's an enforcement there that I don't think is good for anyone, the people doing the enforcing or the people who are being denied agency and self. One of the things that happens when you start to wake up is that you have a lot of your own stuff to process. And that might include things, for me it definitely has included things like changing your belief systems radically over the course of weeks, multiple times, That happens. And that's okay. It's part of the journey. Different people wake up different ways. I've been watching a little bit more Eckhart lately, and it's one of the things that I'm reminded of because it's the classic example. Go spend 3 years on a park bench after enlightenment. Eckhart Tolle. And I get a lot of that. I have a very strong sense in there that a lot of the world stuff is a distraction that pulls me out of my awareness, my bliss, my center, my sovereign, deific soul, whatever you want to call it, pulls me away from God, if that's the way you want to phrase it. The world pulls you away from God. That's a map that a lot of people can get behind. It pulls me out of my soul. And that's problematic because for me, it's very difficult to just leave the world right now. There's still some stuff to clean up, messes and obligations and paperwork and stuff. And I could, because it doesn't really matter to me, I could take off with it. But I'm trying to do some things in a way that will leave future me or future my kids or future stuff a little bit of positive fallout instead of just a mess, So it's very distracting, no good at all. And so we'll see how that goes because I'm not particularly a fan of some of the way that works. Speaking of which, I'd like to mention that usury is still bad. I recently had an insurance company experience where I had one of the good insurance companies, one of the veteran service members groups, and they're the best, and they do all the stuff, and they absolutely screwed the family over on a collision, and you pay them a couple $1,000s extra a year for all this comprehensive coverage, and then the moment they have to pay out, they have to look at their balance sheets, and they're like, yep, nope, not paying you anything, or 1/5 of the replacement cost of the vehicle in the current market, and then they lie about it a lot. It's kind of interesting. So the lesson I took from that is not to trust anyone who says that they're out there to help you if they have a profit motive. That's the thing. It's one thing if you're dealing with an individual company, you can get that trust there. There are lots of people who make money offering services, and you can trust them to go over and beyond because they're individual people. But when it comes to a company like USAA, Geico, whatever, you can't trust them. They advertise that they want to help you, but that is just a marketing tool. And I want you to think about that and how that affects your life, because people lie about help on a fairly continuous. People are lied to about help until they can't help but lie about help, because there's nothing about these companies. They say, welcome to the family, or we'll take care of you. There's nothing about that in the profit motive. And for whatever reason, the way we've structured things right now, it seems that the profit motive is the actual core component of the business service. It's not about fair exchange or protecting the customer base or anything. It's and I don't want to sound like a commie, because I'm not, okay? People have needs, people want to do better, and that's a very rational and normal thing. In fact, wanting to do better, be better, make more money, it's a very human thing. It's one of the hardwired tasks of being in a human body. Human bodies are built that way. The human brain, which is part of the body, psychology, is built that way on a neurological level. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is when you disassociate, when you separate out and lose the all of the other aspects of it and just have the paper profit as the goal. The profit becomes your profit. So the profit becomes your profit. See what I did there? And then you start to play games with people, because you want to maximize that profit. You want to serve your profit, and so you start to play games with words. You start to lie, flat out lie, and you end up with some really weird stuff in life. So in the West, at least, for sure, but I think this is a kind of a humanity thing, but it's definitely really bad in the West right now. We have a lot of stress, failure, and problems with the concept of help. To accept help is weakness. To give help is foolishness, because the bad people will just take and never give back, and it's because there's a fair exchange. You have to make a profit off of it when you offer help. And one of the things here, I've seen this happen, that can actually blow you all the way through into enlightenment. Here's one of the hints. It's not the method I used, but it's fantastic. I've seen it happen, is help. You can actually turn on the idea of help. Everything someone does for you is help of some sort. Everything you do is help. Help for yourself, help for others. Just that whole getting past all of the scarring and the trauma and the negative life experiences and the locks around help, and just living that for a little while will actually blow you right through into enlightenment. Lester Levinson did it with love. He decided to try to love every experience, every person, everything that came into his life, and that blew him right past enlightenment and out into the deep void too. And you get very non-judgmental when you get way out there, and that's really, really interesting. It's one of the things that help actually pushes is that behavior pattern, the neurological patterns of not having the stress. It's just everything is an opportunity for help, for yourself, for others, to yourself, to others. It's pretty amazing. I suggest that you look into it as one of the possible options. So that was actually pretty much all I got to say today. We're 10 minutes into the video, and I'm trying to keep them under 20 minutes these days. Not going to work. Not at all. So stay helpful to yourself. And, take care of yourself, right? Stay sideways.